Meet Sarah, a 35-year-old marketing executive living in a bustling city. On paper, she had it all: a successful career, a stylish apartment, and a packed social calendar. Yet, beneath the polished surface, her life felt like a relentless treadmill she couldn't step off. Sarah's personality was a mix of ambition and perfectionism, traits that often left her feeling trapped under the weight of her own expectations. Her day-to-day life was a whirlwind of meetings, emails, and deadlines. Even in the evenings, she struggled to disconnect, her mind constantly replaying the day's events or jumping ahead to tomorrow's challenges. This stress began manifesting in ways she couldn't ignore. Restless nights filled with tossing and turning, constant fatigue no matter how much coffee she drank, and a gnawing sense of anxiety that loomed over her like a dark cloud. The signs were there, though subtle at first. One evening, scrolling aimlessly through social media, Sarah stumbled upon a post from a former college friend raving about how meditation had changed their life. 10 minutes a day is all it takes, the post claimed. Sarah scoffed, thinking, who has 10 minutes to spare? A few days later, a coworker mentioned they had started meditating to deal with work stress. Sarah politely nodded but dismissed the idea, convinced it wasn't for her. Then came the third nudge. While browsing through a bookstore, she found herself drawn to a brightly colored book titled The Art of Mindfulness. Flipping through its pages, she read about how meditation could help calm an overactive mind. The concept intrigued her, but doubts still lingered. Her skepticism was rooted in common misconceptions. Isn't meditation for monks or yoga enthusiasts? She worried it would be too time-consuming, that she wouldn't do it right, or that it simply wouldn't work for someone as high-strung as her. One particularly rough day, after missing a deadline and enduring a tense meeting with her boss, Sarah reached her breaking point. That evening, with nothing to lose, she decided to give meditation a try. She downloaded a popular meditation app, put on her headphones, and followed a beginner's guided session. Sitting cross-legged on her living room floor, she felt awkward and out of place. The voice in the app encouraged her to close her eyes and focus on her breathing. At first, her thoughts were all over the place. What am I even doing? This is silly. I could be catching up on emails instead. Her mind wandered to tomorrow's to-do list and whether she had defrosted something for dinner. But then, something shifted. As she continued to breathe deeply, a subtle wave of calm began to wash over her. For the first time in what felt like months, she noticed a sliver of stillness in her chaotic mind. It wasn't perfect, her thoughts still darted around, but there was a fleeting moment where she simply felt present. When the session ended, Sarah opened her eyes and exhaled deeply. She felt lighter, if only by a small measure. It wasn't a miraculous transformation, but it was enough to pique her curiosity. Could meditation really be the key to regaining balance in her life? And so, her journey began. Sarah's initial curiosity quickly met the reality of meditation's challenges. Determined to make it a daily habit, she set aside 10 minutes each morning to sit quietly and breathe. But the second and third attempts didn't feel as soothing as the first. Impatience crept in, her mind rebelling with thoughts like, why am I wasting my time? And this isn't working. She struggled with doubt, wondering if she was meditating wrong, or if her mind was simply too restless to benefit from the practice. Yet, amid the frustration, small breakthroughs began to surface. About 2 weeks into her practice, Sarah realized she no longer snapped at her barista for getting her order wrong or honked impatiently in traffic. Her mind, once a chaotic storm, felt a touch more manageable. These subtle shifts gave her the encouragement she needed to keep going. One day at work, during a high-pressure meeting, she noticed something remarkable. Instead of panicking when she was asked an unexpected question, she took a deep breath, paused, and responded with clarity. It was a small victory, but it marked a turning point. Sarah began to see how meditation wasn't just about sitting still. It was slowly rewiring how she approached her daily life. Intrigued by the changes, Sarah decided to dive deeper into the world of meditation. She started experimenting with different techniques to find what resonated with her the most. She began focusing on being present, anchoring her awareness to the sensations of her breath or the feel of her feet on the ground. This practice helped her stay centered during stressful moments at work. Using her app, She explored meditations on topics like gratitude and letting go of anger. The soothing voice of the guide often felt like a reassuring friend, walking her through her emotions. Sarah found box breathing, a method of inhaling, holding, exhaling, and pausing in equal counts, particularly effective when anxiety threatened to overwhelm her. This practice, which involved slowly bringing awareness to each part of her body, became her go-to before bed, helping her fall asleep faster and deeper. Not every technique worked perfectly. Some days, she felt like she was just going through the motions, her mind stubbornly resisting her efforts to stay present. But other days, the experience was transformative, leaving her with a sense of calm she hadn't thought possible. Through trial and error, Sarah discovered that different techniques served different purposes. Mindfulness helped her stay present, guided meditations addressed her emotional well-being, and breathing exercises provided immediate relief during moments of heightened stress. The first unexpected benefit of her practice came during an argument with her sister, Emma. Their relationship had always been strained, and disagreements often escalated quickly. This time, as Emma vented her frustrations, Sarah felt the familiar rush of defensiveness rising. But instead of interrupting or reacting impulsively, she paused and took a deep breath. This pause created space for Sarah to listen more deeply and for Emma to feel heard. By the end of the conversation, what could have been a shouting match turned into a heartfelt dialogue. Later, Emma texted her, saying, "Thank you for really listening today. It meant a lot." Sarah was stunned. Meditation had not only helped her calm her own emotions, but had also transformed the way she interacted with others. This realization was profound. The practice she had once dismissed as too simple was having a ripple effect on her life in ways she hadn't anticipated. That night, Sarah journaled about the experience, reflecting on how far she had come. Meditation, she realized, wasn't just a tool for relaxation. It was helping her become the person she had always wanted to be: patient, compassionate, and resilient. With a renewed sense of purpose, she committed to deepening her practice, excited to uncover what other surprises meditation had in store. As Sarah's meditation practice deepened, she began to notice remarkable shifts in both her body and mind. Her chronic tension headaches, which had plagued her for years, became less frequent and far less intense. She found herself sitting with a straighter posture, her shoulders no longer hunched from carrying the weight of constant stress. Emotionally, the changes were even more profound. The once chaotic swirl of worries and fears that dominated her thoughts began to quiet. Sarah felt a newfound ability to step back and observe her emotions rather than being swept away by them. Moments of irritability, which had previously flared up without warning, were now replaced with a calm, measured response. Gratitude, too, started to flow more naturally. She noticed and appreciated the little things: morning sunlight streaming through her window, the laughter of a friend, or even the simple joy of a deep, steady breath. Meditation wasn't just helping her cope, it was fundamentally reshaping her perspective on life. Life, of course, didn't stop throwing challenges her way, but Sarah found herself handling them with a resilience and clarity she never knew she possessed. When her boss unexpectedly reassigned her to a high-stakes project, her initial reaction was panic. But instead of spiraling, Sarah took a moment to step away. She closed her office door, set a timer for 5 minutes, and focused on her breathing. By the time the timer rang, she felt composed and ready to tackle the task. Her personal life, too, tested her newfound calm. When her relationship with a close friend hit a rocky patch, Sarah used meditation to reflect on her emotions before responding. During a meditation session, a profound realization emerged. She had been clinging to control, fearing vulnerability. This insight gave her the courage to apologize and open up about her feelings. The conversation that followed brought the two of them closer than ever before. These moments cemented Sarah's belief in the transformative power of meditation. It wasn't about avoiding life's difficulties, but about approaching them with a clear mind and an open heart. One particularly transformative experience came during a silent meditation retreat that Sarah hesitantly signed up for on the recommendation of her yoga instructor. Initially overwhelmed by the thought of spending 3 days without her phone or distractions, Sarah nearly backed out. But something told her to go. During the retreat, she met people from all walks of life, each with their own reasons for being there. A woman named Elena, who had been practicing meditation for over a decade, became an unexpected mentor. Elena shared stories of her own struggles and triumphs, helping Sarah see that the journey of meditation was as much about self-compassion as discipline. On the final evening of the retreat, Sarah experienced something she could only describe as spiritual. As she sat in stillness, focusing on her breath, a wave of profound peace washed over her. For the first time in years, she felt a deep sense of wholeness and connection, to herself, to others, and to the world around her. It wasn't about chasing happiness, but about realizing it was already within her. This moment marked a turning point in Sarah's journey. Meditation was no longer just a tool or a habit. It was a way of being, a source of strength, clarity, and purpose that she carried with her into every aspect of her life. As she returned home from the retreat, Sarah felt a renewed sense of energy and optimism. She didn't know exactly where her meditation journey would lead, but she was eager to continue exploring its infinite possibilities. The surprising benefits she had already experienced were just the beginning. Sarah's journey with meditation evolved into more than a daily habit. It became the foundation of her life. Mornings now began with a quiet session by her favorite window, where she'd focus on her breath as the world slowly woke around her. At lunch, she carved out 5 minutes for a quick mindfulness break, grounding herself amidst a busy workday. Even in the evenings, her practice became a peaceful ritual, helping her transition from the demands of the day to the calm of restful sleep. Her relationships began to flourish as well. Sarah found herself listening more intently to others, truly present in conversations. Her partner remarked on how much more patient and understanding she had become. Friends noticed her radiance, a lightness in her demeanor that drew people in. At work, the ripple effects of her practice were undeniable. Tasks that once overwhelmed her now felt manageable, even enjoyable. She was no longer simply reacting to stress but approaching challenges with clarity and purpose. Her coworkers marveled at her newfound calm, often seeking her advice during tense moments. Meditation had not only transformed Sarah's inner world, but also reshaped the way she engaged with the world around her. One evening, as Sarah sat meditating, she experienced a revelation that took her breath away. It wasn't a grand epiphany or a moment of dazzling enlightenment, but a quiet, steady truth that surfaced within her heart. Life is happening now. For so long, she had lived in the past, replaying old mistakes, or in the future, worrying about uncertainties. Meditation had taught her the beauty of the present moment, not as an escape, but as the only place where life truly exists. She began to see how being present connected her to everything. The warmth of a smile, the rhythm of the seasons, the unspoken understanding shared with a stranger. This presence wasn't just about mindfulness. It was about authenticity, living from a place of alignment with her truest self. In that moment, Sarah realized meditation wasn't just a practice. It was a way of life. It reminded her that peace wasn't something she had to seek. It was something she could create within herself, moment by moment. Her journey, which began with skepticism and hesitation, had unfolded into a transformation she never could have imagined. Meditation didn't change the world around her. It changed how she saw and experienced it. And in doing so, it gave her a new outlook on life, a life she was now fully awake to live. As Sarah's life flourished through her meditation practice, she felt a deep urge to share this transformative gift with others. She began casually mentioning it to friends who confided in her about their struggles with stress or anxiety. "It's not about clearing your mind," she would say, smiling at their raised eyebrows. "It's about learning to sit with yourself, no matter what's happening inside." Her enthusiasm led her to host small gatherings at her home, where she guided loved ones through simple breathing exercises and short mindfulness meditations. To her surprise, even the skeptics returned, eager to share how those few minutes of stillness had positively impacted their day. Sarah also took her advocacy online, writing blog posts about her journey and creating short videos to demystify meditation. She posted tips on integrating mindfulness into everyday life, such as mindful eating or taking meditative walks. Her approachable style and genuine passion resonated with many, sparking conversations in the comments and messages from people thanking her for introducing them to a practice that had already begun to make a difference. At her workplace, Sarah proposed a weekly meditation session for her colleagues. What started as a modest group of 3 quickly grew as word spread about the calm and focus these sessions brought. Sarah's advocacy wasn't about perfection or preaching. It was about sharing what had worked for her in hopes it could help others. Watching others find solace and clarity through meditation became one of the most rewarding aspects of her journey. One evening, sitting on her meditation cushion, Sarah reflected on the road she had traveled. She remembered the anxious, overwhelmed person she once was, constantly chasing peace but never finding it. And now, here she was, grounded, calm, and living with a sense of purpose that once felt unattainable. Gratitude swelled in her heart. She felt thankful for every step of her journey, the initial struggles, the small breakthroughs, and the life-changing realizations. Meditation had given her so much more than stress relief. It had given her a way to reconnect with herself, find joy in the present, and build meaningful connections with others. Sarah now looked forward to the future with hope and a deep sense of fulfillment. She knew challenges would come, as they always do, but she also knew she had the tools to face them with grace and resilience. Above all, she was grateful for the ability to share this practice with others. Helping someone else take their first step toward mindfulness felt like completing a beautiful circle. What she had once doubted had become her greatest strength, and now it was a gift she could pass on. Meditation had changed Sarah's life, and by sharing her story, she hoped it might change the lives of many others. As she breathed deeply, a sense of peace washed over her, a peace she now knew she carried within her, always.